All right, everybody, our webinar is about to officially begin once again. My name is Will Goldfarb, and with me I've got Dustin Lewis. We are both senior client managers here at Pointit. Dustin, why don't you take a minute to give us a brief intro?
All right, thanks, guys. Hey, everyone. My name is Dustin Lewis, and I'm a senior client manager here at Pointit, and I've been with the company just under 3 years now. I'm working in digital advertising, but really specializing in pay-per-click advertising for the last 5 years. I started out really concentrating on PPC for small to medium-sized businesses, more B2B advertising, and now I tend to specialize in enterprise-level advertising, especially more retail, brick-and-mortar marketing. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to be here today speaking with you all, sharing some tips and tricks around enhanced campaigns. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Dustin. So my name is Will Goldfarb once again, and I've been at Pointit for almost a year now, though I have about 6 years of paid search experience. And just like Dustin, I started out working with local businesses like attorneys and plastic surgeons. I then moved on to strategy and management for franchise businesses, and today I specialize mainly in B2B, but I also have accounts ranging from professional sports teams to jewelry sales. All right. So about this webinar, everything we say is going to be recorded, and an email link will be provided for you within 24 hours, so you can download, listen many times you'd like, and check it out. And again, this webinar is interactive, so feel free to ask questions. And a little bit about Pointit. So Pointit was launched in April 2002. We are Seattle's largest independent search marketing firm. We specialize in SEM, SEO, marketing automation, as well as web design. And we manage about 30 million managed media per year. And we service clients across all verticals and revenue models. All right, so a little bit about today's agenda, and I'm going to pass it over to Dustin to give some details.
All right, thanks, Will. So on the agenda for today, we obviously wanted to cover the key changes brought about by enhanced campaigns and what that may mean for your advertising program, but really, more importantly, your business moving forward. Specifically, I'll be covering kind of the high-level fundamental changes that come with enhanced, and will really give us more specific information around when this is happening and what types of businesses and verticals are most affected. Secondly, we'll be covering the specific features you can now take advantage of with enhanced campaigns, including bid adjustments, stacked bidding, enhanced site links, and call extensions, along with some really cool new features of mobile ads we hope you find interesting. All wrapped up with our suggestions to make your migration to enhanced campaigns as seamless as possible. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So concerning key changes in making the switch from legacy to enhanced campaigns, there are really 4 prominent changes that come with enhanced that we'll focus on for the duration of this presentation. Most important being that your Google search campaigns will now run across all devices. This is obviously the change that most of us are most upset and concerned about. Now, with our current legacy campaigns, we obviously have the ability to target individual devices, mobile, desktop, tablet separately. Not only can we currently target unique device types, but we can be even more granular by building campaigns that target individual operating systems, so Android, iOS, BlackBerry. In enhanced campaigns, let me repeat, this is Google search only. We lose this ability. Enhanced campaigns will run across all devices with some kind of cool optimization features available specifically for mobile devices and elements of user context like location and time of day, which you'll hear us repeat. And then lastly, mobile ads are unique in the fact that they require special bids, extensions, ad text, headlines that can be managed from the same campaigns as your desktop ads. Now, a consequence, obviously, of running across all device types is that your bidding strategies for tablet and desktop will really align. And what that means is that tablets will not have a separate bid adjustment independent of your default desktop laptop bids. Your ads will automatically show up on both desktop and tablet. And thirdly, users will have the ability to adjust mobile ads at the campaign level. In enhanced campaigns, bids can continue to be set at the keyword level, but Google now allows you to set mobile bid adjustments that really apply uniformly to all keyword bids in the campaign when your ad is eligible to show on mobile devices. Unfortunately, it's not possible to designate different bid adjustments at the keyword level for mobile within the same campaign itself. Nor, again, is it possible to set bid adjustments for desktop tablet. Just to reiterate, this is mobile only. And lastly, mobile bids are now fully controlled by advertisers. Google has historically adjusted bids automatically, as some of you may know, for mobile when a campaign targeted multiple devices, so desktop, mobile at the same time. With mobile bid adjustments, advertisers basically have full control over their mobile bids, and Google will stop automatically adjusting your bids when they enter the auction. In the case, if any of you were wondering if this affects Google Display campaigns, the short answer is not really. Google Display remains fairly unchanged as a result of the switch to Enhanced, with some new targeting features, bid adjustment features at the ad group level for GDN. And now I'll turn it over to Will, who will explain a little around who these changes affect most.
All right, thanks so much, Dustin. So just as a quick update for everybody, the new transition deadline, meaning you must move to Enhanced by, is July 22nd, 2013. And this date was actually recently pushed back, likely in part due to the reaction of the PPC community to the short deadline that Google was initially giving for transition. Regardless, you do not want Google to move your campaigns for you. We recommend moving your non-critical campaigns first, observing the results, see how they perform, and then absolutely moving your campaigns before Google migrates them for you. If your campaigns are auto-migrated, this means you have failed. Now, people ask me, how is the transition to Enhanced going to affect my business in particular? And what I did was break down business types that I deal with in general and talk a little bit about what Enhanced is going to do for you. So let's start out with brick and mortar. In my personal opinion, one of the major targets of Enhanced campaigns are small brick and mortar businesses, most of which are not yet using AdWords. And Enhanced campaign features, they really want to make me own a restaurant just so I can play with all the new tools that they've rolled out. And in just a few slides, I'm going to give an example and show how brick and mortar businesses can take advantage of the time plus location plus device equals context to do some really cool things. Next up, we have lead generation websites. And in general, lead generation websites and campaigns will be significantly affected by the transition to Enhanced. Now, most of the features that are coming out are going to be a boon to your campaign performance. The undeniable negative side to Enhanced is that for most people, segmenting out tablet traffic is important because tablet users do act differently. And unfortunately, just like Dustin mentioned, it's grouped in with desktop, and there's no way to separate the two out right now. On the plus side, we see things like upgraded site links, upgraded call extensions, both of which I'll be diving into detail on later. And they lend themselves really nicely to tracking both web conversions and phone calls inside and outside of AdWords. And finally, we've got e-commerce websites. Now, some e-commerce website owners are actually only going to be minimally affected by the change to Enhanced, as generally they can just bid down mobile traffic, assuming it doesn't convert well. Now, a wise marketer would actually be going into their account, checking out their historical data, and leveraging it for Enhanced. Now, particularly the conversions by hour of day report, as well as conversion data by location. And in just a few slides, I'm going to show you guys how you can optimize your campaigns around this data in your account. And this is particularly useful for those e-commerce sites. But for right now, Dustin's going to explain why this Enhanced transition is actually happening in the first place. Dustin?
All right, thanks, Will. Now, if you're anything like Will and I, after learning about the major changes from Enhanced campaigns and thinking about how it may affect your AdWords program, you're probably left wondering why exactly it was happening, especially if you consider that targeting a unique device type was, per Google and an AdWords best practice for years now. Well, it turns out that Google's answer is really twofold. The first answer being that in Google's eyes, Enhanced campaigns allow advertisers to provide ads that are more relevant to the intent and context of the user, and that's a theme that you're going to see throughout the presentation. Now, specifically, the switch to Enhanced campaigns is really built upon the idea that devices are evolving quickly, and with that evolution comes advanced capabilities. Obviously, we can connect to the internet at any time, almost from anywhere, using a variety of devices. And secondly, Google recognizes the fact that people are constantly switching between devices, using the one that works best for where they are and what they're trying to do. For example, if you're walking downtown and you're trying to find a restaurant, there's a 99% chance you grab your phone. If it's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, there's a large chance you're on your laptop, probably at work. And if you're at home watching television and a commercial comes on that you find to be completely obnoxious, you grab your tablet and start surfing the web. So in other words, Google kind of recognizes this fact that devices and user behavior on those devices are becoming less and less unique as time goes by. And thirdly, changes in consumer behavior and the evolution of these devices presents us with new ways to advertise to consumers. So how does Google accomplish this? What do they hope to provide us with to reach these consumers in new ways? In short, Google really hopes to achieve this by giving advertisers more flexibility across these three components: location, time, and device. Now, the second reason that Google gives us really for the switch to enhanced campaigns that I find to be particularly frustrating as an advertiser is that the current situation is, quote, unsustainable. Again, if you've been following best practices for the last few years, there's a good chance you have your campaigns broken out per device type, mobile, desktop, tablet. Not to mention your campaigns split per network, search versus display, operating system, Android, iOS, BlackBerry, WebOS. Nevertheless, even though splitting campaigns per device type and operating system really gives us as advertisers far more control and granular insight into the campaign performance, Google has recognized that extensive campaign duplication is kind of a drag on resources on their end and on our end, as we have to continually work to duplicate and manage our campaigns that are very often similar to one another. So now I want to switch gears a little bit and start to look a little deeper at some of the changes with enhanced campaigns that we've kind of been alluding to, starting specifically with bid adjustments. So starting at the 10,000 foot level, what exactly are bid adjustments? Bid adjustments are made at the campaign level, not the ad group level for your search campaigns, and are percentage changes, obviously positive and negative, applied on top of your keyword and ad group level bids to act as an additional lever for advertisers to really optimize their campaigns depending on performance. And again, bid adjustments can affect bids at either the keyword or the ad group level. Now below are the actual dimensions that AdWords will allow you to apply bid adjustments on. Starting with device, AdWords will really continue to allow advertisers to bid differently on mobile devices to allow us to optimize for ROI on mobile. Even though consumer behavior, as we said, is becoming more consistent across device type, Google has fortunately recognized the importance of being able to bid strategically to users who are on the go, they're on their phones, and possibly close to your place of business. As such, bid adjustments will be available for mobile devices only and will be located under the same campaign as your regular desktop and tablet bids. Remember, desktop and tablet devices will inherit the same max cost per clicks. And secondly, geo. Advertisers can now bid higher or lower for consumers located in certain geos. For example, Seattle, or near their business location. For example, within half a mile of the Starbucks on the corner of Spring and Seneca in downtown Seattle. So you can be really specific, and you can do this all within the same campaign. Now that change doesn't seem fundamental, but remember in legacy campaigns, if you wanted complete control over your bidding in each market you were targeting, you would need a unique campaign per location with a different bidding strategy in each individual campaign. And lastly, time. Something that has stayed relatively in line with legacy campaigns. AdWords will continue to let you schedule your ads and adjust bids for blocks of time in which performance is strongest or volume to your website is highest. Now, as you guys can see, enhanced campaigns, bid adjustments per device take place at the campaign level and will be applied across the board to all keywords when your ad is eligible to show on a mobile device. Now, bid adjustments for mobile devices can be set anywhere between negative 100% to plus 300%. So you do have some flexibility in terms of how much of a presence you want to have and how much money you want to spend on mobile devices. And lastly, Google does give you some added flexibility for those advertisers who don't wish to advertise on mobile, whether it be due to poor performance on mobile devices or you'd like to concentrate your ad spend obviously on desktop and tablet devices. Setting a bid adjustment of negative 100% on mobile devices will effectively prevent your ads from showing on mobile. Now, switching over to bid adjustments per location, again in enhanced campaigns, bid adjustments per location are made at your campaign level. The AdWords UI gives you kind of a nice holistic view of all your targeted locations and their associated bid adjustments within the same screen, and in my opinion makes bid adjustments according to performance in these markets pretty seamless. And now I'll pass it back over to Will, who will tell us how to take advantage of some of these features we've been talking about.
All right, thanks so much, Dustin. So Dustin just gave us some detail on all of the various facets of enhanced and how you can use bid multipliers to your advantage. I'm going to give a real-world example and show you how we can actually get out there and impress our users and turn them into conversions by using the features of enhanced. So let's consider the search query pizza at two different times. The first time is going to be a Thursday morning, so 11 a.m. We can presume this person's on a desktop PC, maybe at home or at work, 5 miles away from the pizzeria. We've got that same user once again on a Saturday night, 1 a.m., they're on their mobile phone this time, and they're 1 mile away from the pizzeria. So how can we take advantage of each of these situations and send them the right ad based on their context to make them convert? So let's start out with Thursday morning. So I've got 4 pieces of the enhanced campaign toolset that I'm going to use here to wow this user. Let's start from the top. So number one, site links can now be targeted based on device type. And I would have, if I was the owner of this pizzeria, site links that changed based on the day of the week. And each day, they would show a different delivery special for that person searching on the desktop. That's sure to impress your users right off the bat with ads that change based on the day and ads that change and reflect what you have on your menu. Number two, I would use some inside knowledge to actually change my multipliers. So I know that generally during lunchtime, let's say 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., I have a lot of calls. And I'm assuming there's a lot of people searching at that time as well. And I want to make sure that my ad's up on top. So between 11 and 2, I'm going to have a 25% bid multiplier. Now on top of that, I know that there's a town just to the east of my pizzeria that has above average income. And I know for these guys, I also always want to be on top. So I'm going to add a 15% bid multiplier for this town specifically. Lastly, I want to set up call extensions and actually track my callers. This was not possible in legacy campaigns on desktop ads. What I can do now is when someone searches for pizza, we can have our phone number show right next to our ad and actually get a clickless conversion if that person already knows about us and decides to call. Now, once again, let's compare this to Saturday night, 1 a.m., so this person's on their mobile phone. How can we take advantage of that situation? So just like on the desktop, we're going to have site links, but these are going to be specific to mobile users. And we know that if someone's searching for a pizza on their mobile phone, they're likely going to walk into the restaurant rather than search for delivery. So the first thing I would do with the site links is have slice combo deals, so they knew they could walk in and take advantage of those. The second thing goes back to the bid multipliers. So this time, if I detect the users within 1 mile of my restaurant, I know there's a higher than usual likelihood that they're going to come in. So I'm going to set a plus 25% bid multiplier if they're within 1 mile radius. And secondly, I know that between 1 and 2 a.m. we get a ton of business because that's when the bars let out. So I'm going to set a 15% multiplier for that. Now finally, just like with desktop campaigns, we're going to have call extensions. We're going to have mobile preferred call extensions and mobile preferred ad copy so we can make sure that we're speaking to coming into the restaurant rather than delivery. And that's really how you can wow your users. And another great feature of this is that it levels the playing field. So if you're just a small restaurant and you're competing with a Domino's or Pizza Hut, you can really show your users that you care. The last piece of knowledge here is just really how you can apply more practical knowledge to your enhanced campaigns if you own brick and mortar. So if your Monday afternoons are busy, bid up. If your 5 p.m. post-work rush is busy, bid up. Now if you're going to offer specials or be closed on national holidays, you can actually schedule everything ahead of time so you don't have to tweak your campaigns at the last minute. It's really awesome. All right, next I'm going to pass it back to Dustin, who's going to talk a little bit more about stack bidding and show you how we can use all these bid multipliers together to help out our campaigns. Dustin?
All right, thanks, Will. So one point I definitely wanted to point out before we start to answer some broader questions regarding enhanced campaigns was this idea of stacked bidding that advertisers need to be aware of when building their campaigns. The idea in a nutshell is that keywords have the ability to be layered with bid adjustments if you set bid adjustments for multiple dimensions within your campaign, which is actually a great thing as long as you don't end up spending more money than you were originally planning. Now, bid stacking is great because it essentially allows the advertiser to bid their highest CPC for their most valued click. So, for example, if a retail operation is targeting mobile users located in San Francisco, performing searches at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday, your, for example, say $1 bid is amplified by 10%. Your $1.10 bid is amplified another 15% to $1.26, and your $1.26 bid is amplified another 5% for time of day to $1.33, which acts as your final max cost per click. Now, stack bidding is a great feature of enhanced campaigns that allows users to bid for traffic that they deem most valuable to them. However, you need to be really careful and really understand how your bids are layered on top of each other. A 30-cent difference in max CPC doesn't seem like a big deal at first until that difference is multiplied over a few 100,000 clicks. Now I'll pass it back over to Will, who will be addressing some larger questions that you guys may have concerning enhanced campaigns.
All right, thanks so much, Justin. So I wanted to cover 4 questions that I seem to get fairly often from my clients. And I'm going to start at the top here. So number 1 is, what should my CPA goals be? And should I set those goals by device? And the answer I like to give is, setting CPA goals is very important. And whether you set them internally or externally with your client, both of them are a great idea. Now, ideally, yeah, your CPA goals should be broken down by device if you decide to go mobile. And they should also be based around what you need for profitability as a business as well as what you think is an achievable goal based on your account history. Number two, do you even want to get into the mobile space? And entering the mobile space is highly dependent on your industry. Now, many advertisers have avoided mobile entirely for good reason, while others have stayed out simply due to a bad perception of mobile. If you think mobile can potentially have a positive impact on your business, I certainly recommend testing it, especially with new enhanced campaigns. And I'll show you some of the features just a bit later. Number three, is it worth making a tablet-optimized website? So now with enhanced campaigns, as we know and as we've mentioned, you cannot split out tablet traffic. It comes in just like desktop traffic. Now, assuming that you were previously targeting tablets, head over to your segmentation report and take a look. Just like I said, look at your historical data. What percentage of your visitors were actually using tablets, and what percentage of those users were converting? If you see that a good chunk of your users are using tablets, then absolutely. Go ahead and take advantage of value track and direct them to an appropriate page. And Dustin's actually going to touch on value track in just a minute to show you how you can use that. Now finally, all these new bid multipliers are cool, but they can be a little bit overwhelming. So should I actually take advantage of these bid multipliers by day, hour, location? So in my opinion, yes, everybody should be taking advantage of the multipliers eventually. In the previous example of the pizza parlor, I showed how practical knowledge could be applied to bid multipliers. Now, for those of us that actually have an AdWords account history, we can analyze and leverage the data in our accounts. I'm going to show you guys two examples using historical data from one of my clients. All right, so what we've got here are two graphs that represent 1 year's worth of data from one of my client accounts. And I pulled this data from the dimensions report and the segmentation report. The top is a geographic report, and the bottom is conversions by hour of day. So in both of these examples, the top graph's data is going to help us adjust our bid multiplier by location, and the bottom graph is going to give us insight into how we can set bid multiplier by the hour of day. So let's start with the top. So over time, you're going to see patterns start to emerge regarding your conversion volume and your rates. So here we broke down last year's conversion rates by city, and we pivoted them to pull some averages. So certain areas like Los Angeles, San Francisco, we know they have higher than average conversion rates just in general outside of a particular campaign. And this is influenced by the fact that places like LA are really well connected, people there tend to have money, and there's a good population of high earners. Now other factors that are going to influence conversion rate besides the actual populace is going to be your physical presence in that particular area. So whether you've got storefronts there, maybe you're running traditional media like billboards and so on, it's a really good idea to test out other advertising methods in those cities and see how they affect your AdWords conversion rates. All right, let's move on to the bottom graph, the number of conversions by the hour of day. This is a really cool report, and I don't think many people actually have dived in and taken a look at their account, but it's fascinating, and I think it's a great way to learn how you can apply some knowledge to your bid multipliers. So however you choose to use your historical data is, of course, totally up to you and really depends on the context of your business. If you know Washington, D.C. is going to be converting at twice the account average, tweak your bid multiplier there and take a premium spot, knowing your money is going to be well spent. Now, if you're expanding to national targeting for the first time and you don't really know how to adjust your multipliers, take a look online. You'll find some resources that will show you conversion rates by state to give you a starting point. And just like I mentioned earlier, value track can be used to move people over to the appropriate page, and I'm going to let Dustin talk a little bit more about that.
All right, thanks, Will. Now, for the purpose of this presentation, I wanted to provide kind of a brief insight into value track parameters for those advertisers who want additional control over their AdWords traffic, really including the ability to send visitors to different landing pages per device type. Now, before we jump into specifics, let's start at the 10,000-foot level again for those who may not know what value track parameters are. In essence, value track parameters are a fairly straightforward URL tagging feature. Value track works directly with Google Analytics to provide detailed data about each click on your ad, depending on what values you define. And of course, you can use this information to optimize your campaigns for better targeting and improved ROI. Now, the main benefit of this tool is it allows us to direct users to device-specific landing pages for those of us who still want to measure effectiveness of our campaigns per device type, which is hopefully most of us. Now, if you need your campaigns to be a little more responsive, I suggest using the if mobile and if not mobile parameters in your keyword level destination URLs. Now, in this scenario on the screen, you would actually stack value track parameters side to side within the same keyword level destination URL, which would actually allow you to direct mobile users to your mobile site and desktop/tablet users to your main web page. Kind of the quick and easy workaround to some of the limitations to enhanced campaigns. And the example on the screen is actually what an individual keyword level destination URL would look like, directing traffic to either the mobile site or the desktop and tablet site, depending on device type. And now I'll pass it over to Will, who will cover enhanced best practices.
All right, thanks so much, Dustin. So I wanted to try to break down how you can actually move to enhanced campaigns in 4 easy steps. And step number 1, just like I mentioned before, is really reviewing your historical data and using that data to set your multipliers. If you don't set the multipliers now, at least save the data and put it somewhere, because a good chunk of it will be wiped out when you move to enhanced. Step number 2 is going to be merging your campaigns. So you want to make sure that when you move to enhanced, and if you are merging campaigns like you should be, that you keep the campaign that is the right parent account. So using an example here, if you have a desktop, mobile, and tablet campaign, and the desktop has spent 90% of the money in the account, use that as the parent account because it will retain its historical data while the other ones will be wiped. Number 3, this is pretty easy. You take a deep breath and you hit the upgrade button. And it's actually deceptively simple. When you hit move to enhanced, it asks you one question. That is, what do you want to set your mobile multiplier at? And then you hit OK and you're done. But the trick here is number 4. You need to upgrade your Sitelink and call extensions manually. They will not auto-upgrade for you. And if you do not upgrade them yourself, you're missing out on some of the biggest features that Enhanced has to offer. Now, one trick that I've learned after upgrading a ton of campaigns is that if you have a large amount of campaigns to upgrade, go in and wipe out your Sitelink extensions in Editor first. It'll save you a lot of time on the back end in the UI. Now, moving down to the bottom portion here, I want to talk about some critical pieces of knowledge I've learned while moving over a large number of accounts to Enhanced, and hopefully you can take this knowledge and not make the mistakes I did. So, number 1, all extensions must be manually upgraded. I know I just said it, but it's worth repeating. Don't forget to do that. Number 2, with the advent of the new call extensions, especially for desktop, there are no more phone numbers and ad copies. So if you've got them, delete your ads beforehand, otherwise you're going to get a ton of disapproval notices. Number 3, if you're going mobile or if you're testing mobile for the first time, and you really want to give it a good test, stay in position 1 or 2. There's only 2 ad spots on the top of the mobile page, and you want to make sure your ad's being seen. 4, so if you've merged campaigns, just like I said above, don't forget to merge your budgets. Everything merges automatically except the budgets, so don't forget that, otherwise you're going to be under on your spend. 5, and this is like Dustin mentioned before, device and OS targeting, they're gone on search, but they're still on display, so take advantage of it. And finally, 6, I didn't see a huge change or uptick in CPCs for my campaigns when I moved them to Enhanced, but definitely keep an eye on them and see what's going on there. And now I'm going to dive into both site links and call extensions, which are 2 of the biggest features of Enhanced campaigns, and give you guys a rundown on how they work. All right, so let's start with site link extensions. Most of your time when you upgrade to Enhanced is actually going to be spent playing with your extensions, playing with your multipliers. So I want to take some time to really dive into both of these. So number 1, the biggest difference you're going to notice when you move is they're way more flexible than they were in Legacy. Upgraded site links can be added by a campaign level or an ad group level, providing you much more control over the specific ads they show alongside of. Number 2 is the reporting. So now you can find out the number of clicks that occurred on any part of your ad every time an individual site link occurred. And you can also break down the statistics by campaign, by ad group, by ad, or even by ad extension. It's a really great feature and something that a lot of people were looking for back in the Legacy days. Number 3 is data retention, and I believe this also came from another gripe that people had with the old extensions. Back in the day, when you changed the extension at all, it would remove all your historical data and there's no way to get it back. Now, since everything is individualized, you can customize your extensions whenever you want, and all the performance statistics are retained. And like I mentioned in the pizza example, now you can customize your site links based on device. So if you want to create custom mobile site links, absolutely go ahead and do it, and you can designate it to only show on mobile devices. And finally, the scheduling. And again, like I used in the pizza example where you can show a special based on the day of the week, you can specify the dates, days of week, or times of day that your site links are actually eligible to show. And just have a few upgrade notes, and again, key pieces of information to know. Number 1, there is now a 25-character destination URL limit, and this is important, especially if you're running any third-party PPC management programs. Number 2, old data will be erased, just like I said before, make sure you save it. 3, all the site links are edited individually now, and what this means is that you're going to be spending a good amount of time if you have a lot of campaigns to use site links. So portion out yourself at least 30 minutes per campaign or more if you've got a ton of Sitelinks going on. And then finally, like I said before, if you can go in and wipe out everything that you have relating to legacy first, it'll save you a lot of time in the back end. So now that we've covered Sitelinks, I'm going to move over to call extensions, which are arguably even more important. All right, so let's start at the top here. So if you're looking for a reason to upgrade, here it is. Calls are now free rather than costing $1. Seems like not a ton of money, but when you're getting 20, 30, 40 calls a day, that adds up very quickly. Number 2, detailed call and lead reporting, and this is really awesome. So you can set the duration of the call that you want to count as a conversion. So is it 10 seconds for you? Is it a minute? Are you giving a full consult? Well, only a conversion should count as 2 minutes. You decide and you set it. Number 3, just like Sitelinks, device targeting customization. Now this part is really important, so listen up here for a second. Do you measure your mobile calls differently? Do you want to? Do you want to give mobile users the opportunity to call only and not visit your site? This is a really invaluable feature. Visitors that see your ad and see the call-only ads, they have 2 options. They're either an impression, which is free, or they're a conversion, which is a call. And in theory, this is a 100% conversion rate. Now in practice, I actually see about 25% of those mobile users abandon call. That still gives us a 75% conversion rate. And using these call-only ads are fantastic and probably my favorite feature of enhanced campaigns. Next, we have flexibility. And again, just like Sitelinks, you can target your call extensions on the ad group level and get granular with your tracking. You can edit your Sitelinks individually. And lastly, the new dimensions reporting is fantastic. You can see how long all of your calls lasted and whether they were called from extensions or click-to-call ads. It's pretty great stuff. Next, I'm going to move back to Dustin, who's going to tell us a little bit about the quality score impact on enhanced campaigns.
All right, thanks, Will. Now, I want to take a second and briefly cover the impact of quality score, if any, as a result of merging from legacy to enhanced campaigns that probably some of you have been wondering about. Now, long story short, the way quality score is assessed will essentially not change in enhanced campaigns. Meaning your quality score will still be a function of everything we're used to: click-through rate, ad relevancy, overall account performance, landing page quality, and so on. Now, if you upgrade a desktop-only campaign to make no other changes when merging to enhanced, your quality score on desktop devices will remain completely intact. So that's great news. Alternatively, if you merge campaigns and pause your original mobile-only campaign, you will have to copy over your mobile ad creatives as mobile preferred ads in the new enhanced campaign to maintain quality score on mobile devices. So make sure to do that. And lastly, quality score will still take device into account. So your keywords performance on mobile will not affect their quality score on desktop. Now, what I found to be most interesting is that quality score reporting for a given keyword in the AdWords UI will now be an average of the quality score of the keyword on each device. So an average of the quality score across mobile, desktop, and tablet devices, weighted by the related search volume. So keep in mind, the device that drives the most traffic in your campaigns will be most responsible for the quality score reflected at the keyword level in your campaigns. And now I'll pass it back over to Will, who will wrap things up for us.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Dustin. So, in summary here, number 1, and I think this is the most important, enhanced campaigns are not all that bad. I used to be a hater too, and after transitioning about 50 campaigns to enhanced, I'm impressed with the results and the features. And yeah, the tablet traffic downside is unfortunate, but I think the new tools more than make up for it. Just a quick anecdote I have on performance. So since I've moved my campaigns to enhanced, I've seen on all of my accounts an uptick in performance. Even on campaigns where I made little or no changes, I just moved them. Is this scientific? No. Is it anecdotal? Yes. I think it's a great reason, though, to get in there and at least move some of your campaigns to enhanced today. Number 3, those undeniably good features. I love the new call tracking, and to be honest with you guys, I think as more people discover the click-to-call only ads, the CPCs are going to skyrocket. They're a ridiculously inexpensive way to generate leads right now, and I almost considered not sharing this information just so I could keep all the calls to myself. More control in the future. So I think part of Google's plan involves us starting out with tighter control and then slowly releasing back these features like we had, like device targeting, OS targeting, one by one, as they're able to deal with the resource management on their end. And then finally, if you want to receive the return, you really have to make the investment here. The truth is, if your site's undergoing an overhaul, or you just changed your pricing, or you're implementing some new code, now probably isn't the best time to move to enhanced. But if your site is static right now, I recommend getting out there and making the switch. You're going to be really surprised with what you And that's the end of our presentation right now. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. And we're going to jump into just a few questions that we have here momentarily.
So Will, I actually had a question on kind of the migration. So come July 22nd, can you kind of give some insight as to why you really want to be in charge of your own migration, why you do not want Google to kind of manually change your campaigns over for you? What are the downsides of that?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question, Dustin. So nobody knows exactly what Google is going to do yet if you're auto-migrated, but assuming that they default you into enhanced campaigns, just like if you were to move yourself now, that means you're going to be automatically opted into mobile ads, and you're automatically going to have a bid multiplier set for you. In addition to that, none of your extensions are going to be upgraded, so essentially you're going to be left with a hobbled legacy campaign with a forced opt-in to mobile, even if you haven't been using it before. So in almost all circumstances, you do not want this to happen. And Dustin, I have a question for you. So one of the gripes that I hear over and over is that by moving to enhanced, I'm forced into bidding on mobile. Is this true? Is there any way I can opt out completely of mobile?
Yeah, you can opt out completely of mobile. I mean, the flexibility of enhanced campaigns is that as far as devices go, it's really kind of mobile focused. And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of the concentration of the location, time, device, the concentration of the context of the user in an enhanced campaign. So mobile bid adjustments on the search side of things, you can actually add a mobile bid adjustment of negative 100% in your campaigns. And by doing that, you effectively completely prevent your ads from showing on mobile devices. But with that said, you still are forced to show on desktop and tablet at the same time. There's no type of unique segmentation between desktop and tablet devices as far as targeting or your max CPCs go.
Great. Okay, awesome, Dustin. And I have one more question for you here. So a lot of people are saying if I upgrade to Enhanced, I have to make changes on my website. Is there anything I have to change on my site if I upgrade to Enhanced?
There's not. There's no kind of forced changes as far as your website goes. I mean, the interesting thing about enhanced campaigns is I think it's kind of, Google's kind of roundabout way to kind of, pushing responsive web design onto users. I mean, they talk a lot about, the merging of, user behavior and, consumer behavior on those devices. And I think what Google is really moving from, obviously, is we used to be, very concentrated on segmentation. So we wanted, mobile devices, tablet devices, desktop split very evenly. And I think with enhanced campaigns, since we lose the ability to merge all those devices into one, it's kind of Google's roundabout way to saying, you should really have a responsive site that kind of takes, takes it on its own to kind of change the site according to whatever device the user is on.
Awesome. I think that's a great explanation, and that's definitely true. Google's expecting our sites to be more responsive, and they definitely should be. And that's the end of our webinar for today, guys. So I want to say thank you so much for attending and listening. And if you guys have any questions about enhanced campaigns, please feel free to email either Dustin or myself at the email addresses you see on the screen today. Thank you.